Join.
Can already join.
Yes, good morning. Today we'll having a
Sir, you got muted, sir. Yeah.
benign breast lump. Onkar Nath, second year PGT will present this, and Professor Deependra Sarkar, Professor Surgery at IPSK Hospital will take us through the scenario, and we'll have a short discussion on operative part also. Dr. Onkar, you can share your screen and start. I'll join in 5 minutes again. Onkar, please share your screen.
Sir, he is joining. Actually, some internet error is coming, sir.
Okay, fine. Just take time and just join.
Yes, sir. ID बताओ.
Yes, screen is seen. Onkar. Yes, Onkar, you can start.
Morning, sir. I am Dr. Onkar Nath, DNV PGT second year, General Surgery from MR Bangalore Hospital. Today, my topic is case presentation of benign breast lump. My patient, 26-year-old girl, student by occupation, resident of Jadapur, belonging to middle socio-economic status, came in surgical OPD with chief complaint of lump in the right breast for last 2 years. History of present illness. Patient was apparently well 2 years back when she noticed a lump of 1 into 1 centimeter in right breast while taking a bath. Lump was insidious in onset, slowly progressed to attain current size of 2 into 2 centimeter. Lump is not associated with pain normally or during menstruation. There is no fluctuation of size of the lump during menstruation. There is no any swelling in the bilateral axilla, no any swelling in opposite breast. There is no history of trauma, no history of discharge from the nipple. There is no any skin changes in the breast. No history of ulceration over the lump. There is no history of any systemic complaint. Past history. There is no history of similar complaint in the past in same or opposite breast. There is no history of hypertension, type 2 diabetes mellitus, diabetes, asthma, tuberculosis, or any other comorbidity. There is no history of any previous surgery. Personal history. She is unmarried, consumes mixed diet, sleep and appetite is normal, bowel and bladder is normal, and there is no history of any addiction. Menstrual history. Patient attend menarche at age of 13 years. Cycle is regular and is of 28 days. Last menstrual period was 3rd December. Family history. There is no history suggestive of any malignancy in the family member. Her parents are healthy and has one brother which is also healthy. Treatment history. There is no history of any intervention in the breast earlier. There is no history of any drug intake. Allergic history. There is no history of any allergy to food and drug. Summary. 26-year-old girl belonging to middle socio-economic status, presenting in the surgical OPD with lump in the right breast for last 2 years, which was insidious in onset. Initially, it was a small swelling of size 1 into 1 centimeter, which gradually progressed to a current size of 2 into 2 centimeter. No history of any swelling in the opposite breast and axilla. No history of pain over the swelling. There is no history of discharge from the nipple, and no history suggestive of distant metastasis. There is no any significant family history.
Okay, you can continue with the examination.
General survey. Patient is examined in well-lit room in the presence of female attendant after taking proper consent. Patient is conscious, alert, cooperative, well-oriented to time, place, and person. The BMI is 20.7 with Karnofsky score of 90. This is average build and hydration is adequate. There is no pallor, icterus, cyanosis, clubbing, and fetal edema. There is no generalized and cervical lymphadenopathy. Vitals. Pulse rate is 84 per minute, regular in radial artery. Blood pressure is 130 by 70 millimeter of mercury in right arm in supine position. Temperature is 98.6 degree Fahrenheit and respiratory rate is 14 per minute. Breast examination. I have examined breast in sitting posture by arm by side of the body, arm above head, bending forward, with the hands on her hip, and in 45 degree recumbent position. Inspection. On inspection of right breast, there is no visible lump on inspection. Skin over the breast, there is no redness, engorged bend, dimpling, body orange, nodules or ulceration. Nipple and areola, there is no crack, retraction, discharge, ulceration. There is no fullness in the bilateral axilla. Left breast is normal. On palpation, there is no local rise of temperature and tenderness. There is single lump in the upper outer quadrant of the right breast, size with size of 2 into 2 centimeter, which is globular in shape, smooth surface, regular margin, and firm inconsistency. Intrinsic mobility is present, and lump is slipping under the finger when pressed. The lump is not fixed to the skin, underlying muscle, or chest wall. There is no palpable axillary lymph node. Systemic examination. On gastrointestinal system, abdomen is soft, non-tender, not distended, no organomegaly. CVS, S1, S2 heart, there is no murmur. CNS, no focal neurological deficit. Respiratory system, normal vesicular breath sound heard, and on spine examination, there is no spinal tenderness. Summary. 26-year-old girl presented with lump in the right breast for last 2 years, which is insidious in onset. Initially, it was a small swelling of size 1 into 1 centimeter, progressing slowly to a present size of 2 into 2 centimeter. There is no pain over the swelling, no discharge from the nipple. There is no history suggestive of distant metastasis. On examination, general survey is normal. On breast examination, there is lump in the upper outer quadrant of the breast, which is globular in shape, 2 into 2 centimeter in size, that is smooth surface, well-defined margin, and firm inconsistency. Lump is very much mobile in relation to the breast tissue, not fixed to the skin, muscles, or underlying chest wall. Lump is slipping under finger when pressed, and there is no other swelling in the breast, no palpable lymph node in the axilla, and systemic examination is normal.
Okay. Now, Omkar, number one is your history is perfect. I mean, most of these benign lumps that are given during the exam usually are, as you know, are short cases, and you need not take such a long history, but as a case, accepted. Now, when you summarize, my humble suggestion would be do not mention that no history suggestive of metastasis if you are dealing with a fibroadenoma. Unnecessarily, you are actually provoking a question from the examiner side that are we dealing with a cancer? Okay. So if you are dealing with a suspected breast cancer, obviously you are going to make a detailed history that there is no history suggestive of breast cancer, but I mean metastasis. But if you are dealing with where your first provisional diagnosis is likely to be fibroadenoma, do not instigate controversy. Rest of the things are absolutely fine. So what is your diagnosis?
26-year-old female came with lump in the right breast.
What is your diagnosis? My diagnosis is?
My diagnosis is fibroadenoma of the right breast.
Right breast. What are the points which favors the diagnosis of fibroadenoma?
Sir, first coming to the history, sir, patient age 26-year-old, sir, which is common for this age group, and coming with a mobile lump is mobile, and there is no any painless lump is painless, and not fixed to the skin, underlying muscles, or in chest wall. And on examination, lump is globular in shape and firm in consistency, and slip sign is positive.
So can you now, Omkar, can you tell me exactly how you are going to elicit the relationship of the lump with the surrounding breast tissue? Omkar? Yeah.
Sir, first we will examine the breast lump, sir, in various postures, sir.
Now, my question is very specific, Omkar. How would you appreciate the relationship of the lump with the surrounding breast tissue, mobility of the lump in the breast?
Sir, when we press the lump, when we press at the center of the lump, it will deviate to the other side, sir.
Is it? But how is the fixity to the breast tissue determined?
Sir, on bending forward position, sir, if lump is fixed to the skin on, or if lump is fixed to the chest wall or underlying muscle, then it will not bulge out, sir. It will be on bending forwards.
Now, let me, you are not putting it in the correct perspective. Am I visible? Okay. Can you see me? Yes.
Yes.
Now, are you able to see what I am doing? Now, you hold the breast like this in one arm, okay?
Yes.
And then you hold the tumor like this, and you made a sudden jerky movement in both axes, okay? So if you hold the breast goes into inertia of rest, and now you move the lump in both axes, and this bottom up downwards. If the lump freely,
Gate number 3 hai.
Lump moves freely with respect to the rest of the breast tissue, then you know it is free or not fixed to the surrounding breast tissue. But if it is a cancer, you try to move, the lump will drag the surrounding breast tissue with it. So this is the hallmark clinical test by which you would be able to distinguish whether it is a mobile lump in the breast or it's a lump which is fixed to the surrounding breast tissue. Of course, fibroadenomas will not be fixed to the overlying skin or the underlying structure, okay? So you told your first diagnosis, it's a fibroadenoma. Can you think of any other, or at least put two possible differentials in this situation? Omkar? Omkar?
Dr. Sarkar,
Yeah.
Dr. Sarkar, I think he has mentioned in the summary that no evidence, no history of distant metastasis.
Sir, I have
But in the
already
history, if
told him.
he says,
I have told him that if you are talking about a fibroadenoma, do not mention such controversial lines.
Yes. Okay, I did not follow. Okay.
Omkar? Omkar, are you there?
Sir, he is there, but I guess he's having some issues with the mic. I'll just ask him to unmute.
Never mind. If I think it is Tariq is there, or whoever, who are you speaking? May I know your good name, please?
Sir, this is Dr. Milind, sir.
Oh, this is Milind. Okay, Milind. Now, as they are not there, let us continue the discussion, okay? Now, based on the fact that Omkar, once Omkar joins, we will go back to Omkar. So based on the fact that Omkar has given a possible PD of being a fibroadenoma,
Yes,
and could you suggest two differentials? At least one. One is fibroadenoma, of course. Hey, Omkar, you are back here.
Sorry,
Yes,
sir. There is some net issues, internet issues.
Okay, Omkar. Now, can you suggest two differential diagnoses?
Yes, sir. It could be, sir. There could be phylloid tumor, sir. Breast cyst. Breast
Okay.
cyst.
So let us say one you suggested is phylloids, isn't it? So
Yes.
what are the possible facts in favor of phylloids and what are the possible facts against phylloids?
Sir, against phylloid, in phylloid there is rapid growth, rapid increase in the size of the lump, and there is vascularity over the breast tissue. Skin skin is shiny, and there could be ulceration over the breast tissue and the nipple areola complex.
Just hold on, Omkar. Is ulceration common in phylloids tumor?
Um,
In very late
it-
stage, yes, anything
very
can
late,
occur.
not
But the most important fact about phylloids is even if they grow very big in size, they
is
are
not-
likely to involve the skin, unless, of course, in late stage when due to there is pressure necrosis. But like malignancy, do not invade the skin.
No.
What happens is that the overlying veins becomes congested, and you are able to understand that the skin is free, except in late
Yes, sir.
stages.
Skin is not lump is
So
not
do-
fixed to the skin or in this case also.
Ulceration as a point in phylloids. Okay. Anything else? Is phylloids a common problem at 26 years of age?
No, sir. It is more common after 40 years of age.
Say after 35, that is the common age for phylloids. What is the surface of a phylloid while you are palpating a phylloid tumor?
Sir, it is lobulated and rounded. It is also regular, sir. Rounded, regular.
So with the surface usually are lobulated, whereas fibroadenomas usually are not at least felt lobulated. They are lobulated, but they do not feel like being lobulated. Okay. Okay. So one you told is a phylloids tumor. Anything else?
The breast cyst, sir. Cyst.
Breast cyst. Again, what are the points in favor and what are the point against breast cyst?
In sir, age, sir, a breast cyst is most common after 35 years of age, sir. And on aspiration, lump
You are not going to aspirate. You are not going to aspirate clinically. So differential number one point against breast cyst, as you rightly mentioned, it occurs after 35. The commonest age group is the perimenopausal age group. Okay. Because it's an involutional problem. Next, what is the character of a cyst? Clinical character?
Soft, sir. Lump is soft and fluctuation is present, sir.
Again, Omkar, no lump in breast unless they are very big ever become fluctuant. Okay, they also look firm. They appear firm, but when you aspirate, of course, it disappears. But they look firm. They feel firm. Now, unless they are very big, no lump in the breast will ever be fluctuant. Okay. So you told one is phylloids tumor. The second one is
Cyst.
a breast cyst. Anything else?
Sir, that could be, sir, hematoma, sir.
Hematoma, but that's you are suggesting a post-traumatic hematoma.
Yes, sir. If there is post-trauma patient, then there could be hematoma.
But as you are already told that there is no history of trauma, suddenly the question of hematoma doesn't arise. Next, anything else? If the margin of the lump is bit ill-defined, what would be your differential?
Sir, carcinoma, sir.
Margins are ill-defined. They are nodular lump.
Sir, fibroadenosis, sir.
So yes, fibroadenosis is also a differential, but so how would you differentiate between a fibroadenoma and fibroadenosis clinically?
There will be pain. There will be pain in case of fibroadenosis, sir. And there will be cyclical mastalgia.
There will be mastalgia. And on clinical examination,
sir, there will be nodularity. Yes, nodularity present.
Now suppose this is the breast and you are palpating it like this. What difference will you feel if it's a fibroadenosis, and what difference you will feel it's a fibroadenoma? Now, both you apparently the patient tells you that there is a lump, but when you feel with the flat of the fingers, a fibroadenoma becomes prominent. But a fibroadenosis, it is impossible. Rather, you won't feel a lump like this while you are doing it with this. The common mistake the patient tells is that they pinch it up to tell that this is a lump. But when you palpate it with the flat of the hand, you cannot feel a lump. So that makes a differentiation between a fibroadenosis and a fibroadenoma. Now, suppose the patient gives a history of pain, following which this lump has come up. What would be your differential? Pain, fever for say around 3 weeks
Yes,
back,
sir.
and then there was a lump, and now you feel a lump in the breast. Then what would be the
There
diagnosis?
could be chronic breast abscess, sir.
Yes. And at times, if the patient has been given antibiotics for a long time,
Antibiome formation.
antibiotic formation, that is also a differential diagnosis.
Yes.
Now, would you like to bring malignancy as a differential diagnosis?
In this case, sir, I will not give it as a differential diagnosis.
Okay. Now, would you like to bring idiopathic granulomatous mastitis as a differential diagnosis?
Yes. Yes.
Now, what would be the features based on which you can give IgM as a differential diagnosis?
There will be pain, history of pain, fever, and there could be cough, respiratory symptoms, sir.
No, those are not usually present. Idiopathic granulomatous mastitis is like a sarcoidosis, okay? So they produce non-caseating granulomas. So they don't have chest symptoms like tuberculosis. So what you need to understand, usually when you are dealing with an IgM, there
will
is...
be sir, multiple fistulas tract in the breast.
There can be sinuses in the breast. Agreed. Another important point is that it usually occurs within 2 to 3 years of pregnancy, or if the patient is diabetic. Clear? So diabetic mastopathies, patients who have got pregnancy in last 2 to 3 months time might develop idiopathic granulomatous mastitis. Of course, it can occur later on, but unmarried lady, like you are telling, to have idiopathic granulomatous mastitis is very uncommon. Okay.
Yes.
So we have got a large differentials now. Now, how will you investigate and confirm your diagnosis?
Sir, after proper history and the clinical examination, I will go for ultrasonography of the breast with the extension of the clinical examination to assess the lump.
Now, can you tell me how will you differentiate between a malignancy and a benign lump in ultrasonography of breast?
Yes. Malignant lump will be more wider than taller.
Lump will be?
Yes, benign lump will be, sir, more taller.
You are saying reverse.
You are telling reverse. Now remember, this is the breast. A benign lump will remain parallel to the skin. So they are likely to be wider and not taller. Okay? So point number 1, it is wider compared to the length. 1. Number 2, a benign lump.
Sir, benign lump will have smooth, well-defined margins, sir, and a smooth surface. While malignant lump will have irregular margin and ill-defined margin and
not ill-defined, they have got speculated margin.
Speculated margin, yes.
Okay, so this is number 2. Anything else?
Microcalcification, sir.
But in ultrasound, it is not very common to find microcalcification. Okay. Yes. So can you tell me of any other distinct? Now, a benign lump will grow like this. So will it have a capsule around it?
Yes.
Okay. So what is that capsule known as? Can you tell me what is that capsule known as?
Don't know.
Okay, so that is called a perilesional halo. Did you get my point? It is called a perilesional halo. It is like those Hindu gods and goddesses. They have got a halo around their back in the face. You have seen during Durga Puja and other places. So a benign lump will have a halo around its face. So that is called a perilesional halo. Clear? So
Yes.
point number one, you told it is wider. It is parallel to the skin. It is smooth. It has got a perilesional halo of a cancer and a benign lump. Which one will have heterogeneity and which one will have a smooth?
Malignant lump will have heterogeneity.
Very good.
Heterogeneous.
So that is another point. Now, in a malignant lump, important point is microcalcification. Clear?
Yes.
Now, if the sound waves passes, will it be able to cross the microcalcification?
No, sir.
So what will happen behind the microcalcification?
Equal cell. Yes.
So
Shadow.
there will be a posterior echogenic enhancement in a malignant lump,
Yes.
which is not present in case of benign lump. Clear?
Yes.
So is it clear? Any clarification that you want? I will explain once again. Okay.
Yes.
So if you find these features, then you think it is a benign lump. Clear? Now, how will you differentiate between a fibroadenoma and a phylloids tumor?
Sir, first by the history, sir.
No, on ultrasound. Okay, if you do not know, I will explain it to you. Now, I will, after the our discussion, I will put you 1 or 2 slides to explain you how it looks like. So you see, this is a smooth lump. A fibroadenoma and a phylloids both will have a smooth lump, but a phylloids will have intralesional clefts. Get my point? What is that point? Intralesional cleft. So it is the lesion. Inside it, there will be small clefts. So presence of clefts within a lesion raises the suspicion of a phylloids tumor. A fibroadenoma is distinctly smooth and there is no intralesional cleft. Clear? So
Yes.
if you remember one point, remember that there are intralesional clefts in phylloids tumor. Clear? How will you differentiate between a fibroadenoma and a breast cyst in ultrasound?
Yes. There is acoustic shadow will be there in the case of cyst, sir.
Why will there be acoustic shadow? There is no calcification. So why will there be acoustic shadow?
Presence of the fluids, sir. Fluid.
Why will fluid produce acoustic shadow? So it is black, completely anechoic. So it's completely black. Okay?
Yes.
So if it is completely smoothly black, then you think that this is a distinctly cyst. But you need to look at one particular thing. If you're looking at a cyst, try to find whether it is a complex cyst. Can you tell me what is a complex cyst? Complex cyst is one where the cyst is there, but in one side of the wall, there is a solid component. Understood? So then if there is both solid and cystic component, then it becomes a complex cyst. And that particular solid component is the one which can have a malignant component. Clear?
Yes.
Now, have you heard of this new ultrasound technology called elastography?
I heard of, sir, but don't know anything about this.
Okay. So Milind, do you know what is elastography, or anybody who knows what is elastography? Okay, never mind. If you don't. Yes, Milind?
So I'm not sure, but I think it has something to do with the amount of fibrosis that the tissue has. It measures that.
Very good. Let me be more explicit about it. Now, what happens is that, now think of a balloon, okay? Now you put a pressure in the balloon dips, And once you release the pressure, the balloon comes back. So it dips and the balloon comes back. So all tissues within our body has got this tendency of elastic character to come back to its normal form. So more elastic a tissue is, that means more compliant, it squeezes and comes back, the higher is the chance that it can be a benign lesion. Whereas a malignant lesion, as you rightly said, if it is hard or it's firm, and most of the malignant lesion will have desmoplastic reaction all around. So if there is a desmoplastic reaction all around, this elastic recoil is going to disappear here, and it is measured by in kilopascal. So if you find that the kilopascal is very high, that means it's a very rigid tissue. So now if you have a complex cystic lesion, or you are in doubt whether it's a fibroadenoma or it's a malignant lesion, you do an elastogram, and in elastogram you find it is 19 kPa or less than 30 kPa, then you know this is a benign lesion. But a malignant lesion will have 150 kPa. Clear? So Omkar, did you understand this concept? This
Yes.
is a new thing which I thought we must discuss amongst ourselves for as an updating. Clear? So you have more or less come to a conclusion that you are possibly dealing with a benign lesion. Now, what would be your next investigation? You have done a clinical examination, you have done an ultrasound. What would be your next investigation?
Then I will go for FNAC of the lump, sir,
Okay.
to confirm the diagnosis.
Okay. Now, would you prescribe fine needle aspiration cytology, or you want to go for a core biopsy?
First, I will go for FNAC, fine needle aspiration cytology.
Okay, Milind, would you agree to Omkar's thought of doing a fine needle aspiration cytology?
So if we are strongly suspecting a fibroadenoma, then we can go for an FNAC, but otherwise, in all cases, it's better to, if after USG, we can just go for a core biopsy, sir, for a definitive diagnosis, for a tissue diagnosis.
Now, I actually resolve this confusion which exists among all of us, whether to go for an FNAC or go for a core biopsy in a benign, distinctly benign lesion. Now, one of the issues is never trust a lump in the breast. Okay, if you feel that in 26 malignancies do not occur, you are in fool's paradise. And every day we are seeing patients in the mid-20s coming with a breast cancer. So point number one, the world have shifted to core biopsy. Okay, in situations where FNACs are not being done, I mean core biopsies are not done, you have to rely on fine needle aspiration cytologies. Agreed, you can do a fine needle aspiration cytology, but if you have a facility of core biopsy, it becomes the standard of care. No controversies on that. Now, suppose a young lady has come to you with an 8 millimeter into 12 millimeter BI-RADS 2 lesion in the breast. Are you going to go a core biopsy or a fine needle aspiration cytology? Remember the guideline. If it's a palpable lesion, core biopsy. If it's an impalpable lesion or borderline palpable lesion, if it is up to BI-RADS 3, you do not require a core or an FNA. BI-RADS 1, 2, very small, impalpable or borderline palpable, don't do anything. BI-RADS 3, you follow it up at 6 months, 12 months and 24 months. If it is non-progressive, finished. If it is BI-RADS 4 or 5, then obviously core biopsies. If it is a distinctly palpable lump, core biopsies. You are in a center where core biopsy is not done, you can tell that, sir, fine needle aspiration cytology can be done in expert hands, but the standard of care remains core biopsies. Clear? Now you might argue, sir, if it is distinctly fibroadenoma, then why we will think of malignancy? That's Omkar would think that way. Now we recently completed this trial, and there are also evidences throughout the world to state that aggressive cancers are more round. They are less speculated. triple negative breast cancers, which are poorly differentiated breast cancers, are likely to be more round and not speculated. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So younger breast cancers are likely to be more round compared to that of elderly breast cancer, and therefore the classical features of breast cancer in ultrasound may be missing in young breast cancers. So core biopsy becomes the standard of care. If it is impalpable or borderline palpable, then you can follow a BI-RADS 3 lesion. BI-RADS 1-2 requires reassurance only. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So how will you treat the lesion this lady has?
Sir, in this case, as the size is very small, 2 into 2 centimeters, sir, I will go for only wait and watch policy, sir.
Okay. What size do you consider would be adequate to go ahead with surgery?
Sir, more than or equal to 4 centimeters.
Omkar, you are freezing once again.
Mm.
Yes, Omkar. What size?
Yes. More than or equal to 4 centimeters, sir.
Okay. So that's accepted. More than equal to
Reassurance. But you have to
Hello.
reassure the patient. Have to reassure the patient that it's a benign disease and patient should worry about malignancy.
Sir, your voice is
Am I
cracking.
audible?
Yes, sir. But it is cracking a bit.
What I'm saying is you have to wait and watch with proper counseling and reassurance.
Yes. Yes, Omkar.
Yes, sir.
What sir is telling is that reassurance is the and follow up of the patient is
Yes.
important in such cases. Now,
Yes.
remember the role of, if you are asking one patient to go for a follow up, like this patient, a 2 × 2 centimeter, 26 years female with a fibroadenoma. Okay.
Yes.
Now, for God's sake, do not reassure unless you have not done a triple assessment, and that includes a core biopsy.
Yes.
If you are following up a patient BI-RADS 2 lesion, the patient is coming repeatedly, you may think of skipping the third arm. But if you are telling, be sure this is not malignancy, don't look at ultrasound plates and clinically palpate until it's benign. You must confirm by a triple assessment that it's a triple negative disease. Therefore, I am advising a follow-up based on the size and your age.
Yes.
Clear?
Yes.
So the cutoff is, roughly remember, 3 centimeter and 30 years of age.
Yes.
Okay. You
Yes.
also need to track the growth. If you find that it is progressively growing, then you have to intervene. What
Yes.
is the period of follow-up? Roughly 2 years. In 2 years, if it doesn't progress, the possibility of that lesion progressing is very less. Clear? Now, suppose you are planning to, it's a, say, 4 centimeter fibroadenoma in the breast. Can you tell me what surgery you are going to do?
Enucleation of the lump, sir.
Can you explain us how will be the incision?
Sir, incision, sir. If lesion is 4 centimeters, then I will go for submammary incision, sir.
Okay.
And if lesion is lump is small, then I will go for circumareolar incision.
Okay. Is there any role of a radial incision?
Radial incision, sir. I will go in case of breast abscess.
Okay. Now, you have rightly avoided radial incisions. Now, I will again show you a picture to understand that suppose this is the breast and you make a radial incision like this. Okay. And now it comes out with malignancy. If you want to incorporate this radial incision in your post-operative, I mean your revision surgery, is very difficult. So do not, by any means, go for a radial incision unless it's a very big one in the lower quadrant where you are planning a sort of mastopexy to remove the lump. In those cases, only a radial incision is done. But in upper quadrant and rest of the quadrants, the question of radial incision should not come in your mind.
Yes.
Clear?
Yes.
So can I share my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's open, sir.
Yeah, I will just go and show you few radiological pictures if it is available. Okay. Is it visible?
Yes.
Now, the
Yes, sir.
signs of cancer are speculation, angular margin, microlobulation, taller than wide, duct extension. The last one is a typographical letter. It is hypoechogenicity. Now, compare these two. Now, Onkar, now look at this. This
Yes.
is, and this, these are two lesions. Which is a malignant one?
Sir, malignant, sir. Left side, sir. This
This
one.
one is
This.
malignant. Now,
Yes.
look at the posterior echogenicity.
Yes.
Get my point? Whereas in this is called the perilesional halo that I was talking about. And you measure it, the anteroposterior diameter is less than the transverse diameter. So this is the hallmark. Remember, when you see a plate in your OPD today, just try to see the APD and the TD, and you find a halo around it or not, or you get a posterior echogenicity or not. If you find this and there is no halo around, that's a malignant lesion. This is the BIRADS. Now, once again, look. Now, this is in ultrasound. You get a distinct fibroadenoma. Now, you do a mammogram in a large lesion. It looks almost the same.
Yes.
This is the intralesional cleft that I was talking about. Okay.
Yes.
This is a classical phylloids tumor. Look at this. A lump this is an elderly patient, and you have a large lesion in the breast, almost encompassing. You think it's a phylloids tumor. Again, you think it's a phylloids tumor. Now I enlarge it. There lies the clefts. So a fibroadenoma versus a phylloids, the factor is the presence of clefts. If you find that there is a cleft, and the reason more so of doing a core biopsy is to distinguish between a fibroadenoma and a phylloids tumor. Because if you have a phylloids tumor, your margin must encompass a wider excision. Okay?
Yes.
So remember two things. Only core biopsies can differentiate between a phylloids and the fibroadenoma. And only a good ultrasound can show you the clefts to differentiate between the two. Or else you do a fibroadenoma shell out, you find it's a phylloids tumor, the local recurrence rate will be very high. Now this is a breast cyst. Look at this, is a distinct cyst, that's a breast cyst, and you find the, but look at this. Can you see this complex character? Something propping out from one of the wall, Omkar and Milind?
Yes. Yes.
This is a complex character, and therefore this patient will require an US guided core biopsy from the solid component. Okay.
Yes.
So I think we have any other questions I will be ready to answer, or else we call it a day. Sir can take over, sir.
So I think Saha sir is not connected right now.
Okay. So,
Dr. Deependra,
yes, sir.
speaking. It is a very nice class you have taken. You are very vastly, widely experienced in breast. One thing that is still not clear because the message, what is usually given, regarding the size of the breast lump and regarding the age of the breast lump, is there any definite hard and fast rule for 25 years, 30 years like that? I think is it universally accepted that
No,
at
sir.
the age of 25 years or 30 years?
No, sir, it is not universally accepted. The general thumb rule is 30 years and 3 centimeter. However, we have to take into consideration the background of the patient, the ability of the patient to come back for follow-up. These are very important criteria. Somebody who is coming all the way is having a 2.5 centimeter or 2 centimeter fibroadenoma is unlikely to come back in follow-up. You might offer the patient that there is an option of going for a surgery. There is no hard and fast rule. There are so many circumstantial things to be considered before we decide. That is mostly a Western NHS policy, 3 to 4 centimeter and more than 30 years, but that may not be applicable to countries like us. And I personally would go for surgery if it is 1 inch or more.
So I think Sukumar sir is also disconnected. So there is one question in the chat box. They are asking if you could please once again state the USG findings for a malignant lesion.
Okay. So the mammogram, a mass, associated calcification, architectural distortion, asymmetry of architecture, asymmetry of tissue density, skin or nipple changes. These are the views. I'm not going. So as you see, as you go from round to a speculated margin, you rely more on the fact that this can be a cancer. In ultrasound, as I said, you just compare. You will have a lesion which is wide, which is taller compared to wide, will not have a perilesional halo, is likely to have a posterior echogenic character and irregular margins. This is the BIRADS. We have discussed this. Now, yeah. Now, this is something which you must remember. Now, look at this lump. This one has got an irregular margin, and you have got something clustered microcalcification. Clustered microcalcification means within a space of 1 square centimeter, if you have more than 5 dots, and look very carefully, Omkar and Milind, in this, you will find multiple calcification and each of them look separate from the other. So the presence of this, that is when there is no similarity between the two, you find it to be a pleomorphic clustered microcalcification. Clear? So pleomorphic clustered microcalcification. That means more than 5 different types of dots present within 1 square centimeter. Clear? And these are the different types of calcifications that you can find, of which, see, these are clear-cut benign lesions, and therefore you don't look at these as a malignant one. But these are the different types of microcalcifications which are pleomorphic, and look at them, all of them, they look different from the other, and this character makes it a malignant lesion. Clear? Again, if you put in a 1 square centimeter, you will find more than 5 dots, and each of the dots are separate from the other. So this is again a patient a malignancy. This is a malignancy, and this is the character that I was talking about: irregular outline, posterior echogenicity, anteroposterior diameter more than transverse diameter, absence of rim enhancements. These are the classical features in ultrasound. Clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
So I think if Professor Saha permits us. Or if
Sir
there-
is, I think sir is not connected.
okay. So do we call it a day? Any other questions, Milind? You can directly contact me or call me up, and we will
Yes, sir.
be happy to discuss. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.